Hey, space monkeys. Bit of a trail side review here. I'm on my way home from work. The BJC Boulder Junior Cycling Team just came hurtling past me on some single track here. You can see our playground. There's our bridge and our trail. And the other day I did a podcast with Tyler Benner from Strong Feet Athletics. And he gave me some shoes to try. He made some shoes that are very much in the spirit of barefoot ethos, which is a lovely paradox. A barefoot shoe is a great paradox. It's kind of like jumbo shrimp, light yet filling, fresh, frozen. But nonetheless, I think it's the moniker to use. So the colloquialism, here's a shot of our shoes from the side there. And the model's called the Leviathan. And I'll take this one off so you can see what's going on with it. This shoe is got a carbon fiber sole. It's a little dusty at the moment because I've been riding on some gravel, and I threw an old style speed play cleat on there because that's what I had in my garage at the moment. And at first Tyler sent me the black colorway. It's not black, it's some other euphemism for black. It's like midnight charcoal or something like that. And then this is the lighter colorway. And initially I measured my feet and told him I needed a 42, and that's what I am in most other shoes, but those were quite roomy on me. So I asked him to send me some 41s, and graciously he accommodated me. So you can see what's going on with these. They've got a really big bumper on the toe and on the heel. And you can't tell right now because this cleat's mounted, but they also have both 3-hole and 2-hole compatibility with cleats. So I think that's a good idea. One potential challenge that we might incur from that is if you mount a 2-hole cleat, the lateral stability of the pedal system in this plane, the frontal plane, your tippy side to side, is determined by the cleats, not the cleat contact with the pedal, but by the lugs on either side of the cleat contacting the sides of the pedal. And on this shoe, there are no lugs there because you can't put lugs where you're also going to put a road cleat that would interfere, especially if you're going to put a 3-hole cleat like a Look or a Shimano. So nonetheless, he did the 2-hole, and it makes it compatible with 2-hole system. So if you want to use the shoe with 2-hole, it could work well. You would want to put on the cleats and then clip your shoe into the pedal. You know, you can do that by using your hand, or you can put the shoe on and clip in and then take your foot out of the shoe, but leave the shoe clipped into the pedal. And then you want to rock the shoe side to side like this. Not like this, we're not checking the heel movement. We're looking at this rocking in the frontal plane, the cartwheel plane. And if there's too much play there, that tends to be problematic for riders in my experience. It tends to cause knee problems or other challenges. So we want to avoid that. So if your system has a lot of play in that plane, then you can look at, there's one option I know of that I believe is sold by, I'm going to butcher this a bit, but go forth and use the AI Google monster and you'll find it. Try Form Fit or Fit Form 2-hole cleat adapter, and you'll find a thing that goes between the cleat and the shoe and has 2 little lugs that pop out. And I have not tried one of these in person, but I have a couple clients who have tried them, and to my knowledge, they've had pretty good results. So that's a possible solution. Maybe you don't need that. If you're using a Silka titanium cleat or probably a Shimano stainless steel cleat, you may not need that extra stability. Depends on also the condition of your pedals and cleats. If they're super clapped out and old, which a lot of people tend to use them to death, then you might have more problems. If you're using a Crank Brothers brass cleat and it's anything more than 1 month old, there's a good chance there's quite a bit of play in it. Or if the little bars are worn, that's a thing. The brass cleats just aren't as durable as the stainless ones, and they induce a little more play. So when you consider all that, 2-hole may be an option for this shoe. Also depends on how tolerant you are to this kind of play. In my experience as a fitter, it's really not good for anybody. If you're a pronator or a supinator, that pattern enables more of that to a point where it's problematic potentially. But anyway, on with the shoe. I really like this design. It's got a huge wide toe box. I mean, you probably don't really get a feel for how wide the toe box is in the shoe until you see it in person, but it is significantly wider and more foot shaped than most other shoes on the market. The only other shoes that come close are Bont is kind of close, but they don't have as straight of a first ray there, meaning, see if I can get this to work here. meaning this from the first metatarsal, which is the ball of your big toe, straight out here, or even going slightly out this way to really allow that big toe to be straight. Even Bont goes in a little bit, and all other shoes in the market, with exception of anything truly custom, will push your foot in, your big toe in, your first ray, or your great toe as it's known. And this is problematic for numerous reasons that I've gone into on my podcast, so I won't belabor them here. So this shoe really gives you a lot of room to do that. And Tyler said to me that one of the ideas behind this shoe was to actually enable him to ride with toe spacers installed while he was riding. And I haven't tried that, but I definitely have room to do that. So I'll give that a shot at some point and see how it goes. And we'll see what that feels like to ride with toe spacers in. I've tried it in some of my other shoes, and it's been challenging. Even in wider toed shoes, there's just not quite enough room to do that. So that's kind of the scoop on the Leviathan. You can see it's got some boa style closures here. It's got some ample padding, especially around the tongue and in the sides. So I would describe this as a shoe that's got a nice rigid carbon sole, that is carbon fiber, you can see there. And it's got a very stiff platform. It also has no toe spring and no heel rise. So you can see from the side, the shoe is completely flat, just like the earth. And most shoes, the toes spring up a bit, and then there's kind of an S curve to the sole, and the heel comes up. And this is really a vestigial hangover from archaic shoe design. I'll let you percolate on those 25-cent words. And they're useless crap. So I was really happy to see Tyler make a shoe that has a flat profile. None of that stuff is really useful at all. And you'll know, if you follow me at all, you'll know from my work with the Lore shoe that also has a flat design. So that's pretty cool. And one other thought about the shoe is that it's really made for a person with a probably medium or high volume foot, which is not me. I have a low volume foot. So what do I mean by the low volume? Well, if we look at the diameter of your foot around this middle section right here. So imagine I wrapped a string or a tape measure around this, and I measured the diameter of this middle of my foot. That would give us some idea of the volume of my foot. And some people have a very high volume foot, some have a low volume foot. So, you know, my foot is 200 and I don't remember exactly, 64 millimeters long or 68 or something like that, which is like a 42 on most charts if I remember right. Probably getting the numbers wrong because details often fly out of my brain. And also at times they're not important, and at times they are. So, but whatever, the point is, if somebody had an identical length foot and even an identical width foot, which we could quantify as the distance from the fifth to the first metatarsal roughly, they might have a higher volume foot, a fatter foot, a more Flintstone-y foot, whereas I have like a whatever, ectomorphic foot, a skinny foot, right? A pinky foot, whatever you want to call it. So we all have our own shapes and sizes to our bodies, and different feet will have different volumes that accommodate different volumes. Different shoes will have different volumes that accommodate different volumes of feet. And this shoe is on the medium to high volume side. So what that means is when I tighten down the shoe, which you can see here, this is about as tight as I can go with these. They're not boas, they're some other brand, Fit Go, which is like the not boa, which is cool. They work fine. When we tighten these down, I can't really go any tighter because these parts are starting to compress and there's no more room for these to get any closer because we're running into this lace guide here. And that means that, but I need to go a little tighter on the left foot, especially my left is even a little smaller volume than my right. So it means my foot moves around in the shoe a little bit. And the only way to really alleviate that is to add stuff on the top side of the upper, which then adds more padding and more smush and prevents breathability of the shoe, but it's an option. Or you can add another insole in there, which increases your stack height. So both of those are potential options. Both of them come with a bit of compromise. So for someone who's a really low volume foot, this probably isn't the ideal shoe for you. Lower volume shoes are things like Giros. That's a good example of a low volume shoe. Trying to think of some other ones. Bont's reasonably good at accommodating low volume feet, right? But other shoes like these, and I'm trying to think of some other examples off the top of my head of bigger volume shoes, like CDs are medium volume. There's one other that's escaping me at the moment. Lake. The Lake CX333. That's a medium to high volume shoe. So if you have a medium to high volume foot, that'll work well for you. If you have a low volume foot, probably not so much, right? And vice versa. So these are just the characteristics of the shoe that you should know about. Otherwise, I don't know how much they weigh. They cost $300 or $299 if you're talking sales talk and you want to subliminally convince someone that they're not really spending $300 on something. That's how much they are. And you can check them out on strongfeetathletics.com. Thank you, Tyler, for letting me test these shoes. I will try them with some toe spacers and let you know how that goes. Also, one last bit, the footbed that comes in these is a flat liner, and it's about 3 millimeters thick and pretty soft, squishy foam. I replaced mine with my own. It's a homemade one that's from an old running shoe. You probably can't quite see it in there. It doesn't really matter what it is. And it's got some texture to it. And it has an arch in there, a G8 or gate arch that I stole and taped to the bottom side so I can get a little arch support that's proprioceptive, not mechanically supportive. That's my first choice. And that helped a little bit with the volume for me. Also, the 3 millimeter foam footbed was a little thick for my taste. So that's what I got. I hope that's helpful info on the shoes. If you're looking for a barefoot shoe option for cycling that gives you a lot of toe room and is really a comfortable shoe, can also certainly be a performance level shoe. It's got a very stiff carbon sole in it, and you've had trouble finding a shoe that can give you the room you need for your metatarsals or your toes, or you want to really entertain a corrective program while you're cycling by using toe spacers, this is your jam. I don't know anything else on the market other than a custom shoe that could even come close to this much toe room. There's nothing else that I'm aware of. The next best thing would be the Lake CX242 or MX242. And I think that's a $500, $450 shoe. I carry those in my shop. It's a really nice shoe. It has a lot of pliability in the metatarsals because of the material they use, but it has a more conventional toe box and a little bit of toe spring and heel rise. So it's sort of a midline between this and most other shoes. But it's a really nice product and also an option you could consider. But Tyler's made a really nice product here. I know he's a labor of love for him. I think he said he worked for 10 years on this. Finally found the right factory to do it. And this is his first run at this. And he's talking about future generations that might be different price points and different features. But for now, this is what we have is the Leviathan. Strong Feet Athletics. I'm pretty sure that's right. It might be Strong Foot Athletics. But again, I don't think it matters. Just type in the words and type cycling shoe and you'll find it. And let me know what you think of these shoes and if you're interested in them, and reach out to Tyler if you have any questions. He's super responsive, super approachable, very nice guy, very happy to entertain questions about sizing or specifics on the shoe that I didn't cover. And so give him a shout. Thanks.